everybody, I just got a new camera that I'm going to test out. This is a DJI Osmo, I think. It's really awesome. And I bought it. It wasn't given to me. But anyway, since I'm testing it out, I thought I'd give you kind of a behind the scenes look at a project I'm about to start. So you can see, you know, kind of what goes into it. Maybe this is interesting, maybe it's not. You can let me know in the comments. But so I'm going to be making a small air hockey table, like a 2x4 foot. I was sitting on the couch last night, thought of it, thought it'd be cool, so I pulled up the laptop and did some SketchUp. And so let's take a look at that. So I did a SketchUp file, and I didn't really necessarily need to do this. I mean, I could think through the construction, but it was good to figure out how much material I need for the side pieces, how these scoring areas are going to overlap, like the goal is right underneath here, and then there's a catcher down here. So I just was able to figure out how much material of 1x I needed, and then how much of the 1/8 inch plywood I would need, stuff like that. And then it helped me just see it and think through how to do it all. So I went to Home Depot this morning and got the material. All right, so let's go take a look at the materials. Going right out of my office into my shop. All right, so I picked up some this 1/8 inch plywood, just kind of the same stuff I use for a lot of different projects. And then this is also an 1/8 of an inch. Actually, this is a true 1/8 of an inch. And it has like a melamine cover on it, so it's a little bit slicker. So that's what I'll use for the surface. We'll see how it goes. I don't know. I was looking for the whiteboard material, which is actually like glossy, but I couldn't find it. So anyway, picked up those. I had to cut down some sheets that are roughly the right size so I could fit it inside the car, because I had to do some other stuff. And so then I have these big leftover pieces down here, which will be cool. Also got a couple of pieces of PVC, just different lengths, and then some PVC fittings down there in that bag. And while I was there, somebody left this on my window in my truck, which was really nice. So whoever that was, if that's you, thank you. All right, so I'm gonna just start working. The first step when I do this, now that I have the project figured out, I have the materials, the next thing is to figure out the order that I need to cut all the pieces, and then figure out where to put the camera so that I can get, you know, the best view of what the next cut. But then after that, I have to figure out where to put the camera so that the viewer understands where they just were and where they're going and how it relates to the next step. And so that's a thing you have to do every single time. So I'm just gonna start working, and you guys can watch in time lapse. Ready? And then occasionally I have things like this, where this board I'm trying to cut is actually too long to go in this direction. It's running into my storage there, and it's too long to go in this direction. So I just have to figure out like what I can move out of the way to get the cut that I need, and then figure out where to put the camera. Another thing that I should point out is that I have two tripods. I have this big heavy duty one, and it actually, I have it because it goes taller. It goes up to like 78 inches or something, so I can lift it up really high. But then I also have this other one, which is shorter and much more lightweight. And it's extended now, but typically I keep this one short. So if I want to move the camera from a short tripod to a tall tripod, I don't have to readjust the legs too much every time. And I have the same mount on the top, so I can just like pop the camera off, pop it back on here. I have this same mount on all of my tripods, even my short ones. That way every camera works on every tripod and I don't have to mess with it. Except for this camera, I don't have one for this one yet, so gotta fix that. All right, so the day's been going pretty well. I've gotten a lot done on the project, and I haven't recorded a lot of it for this. But while I was cutting some like ridiculous little scrap pieces to put on the inside of this project, I was using a long board, like I was talking about on the miter saw, and it knocked off my camera lens, which was sitting right next to it, just because I was like cramped in space and I wasn't paying attention to everything. And so now, one of my favorite lenses, the 50mm Canon, is gone. It broke apart. I was actually able to put it back together, but that ribbon right there, that ribbon cable ripped, and so I would have to like get in there and completely fix it, and it's just not that expensive of a lens to mess with that. I actually was able to close it back up, thinking, because the glass is fine, thinking like, hey, it'll just be a manual lens, but it won't stay in focus now. So anyway, that's one of the things that happens when you shoot videos in a small space with a bunch of stuff. It's the next day now. I broke that lens yesterday. I had to stop working for a while. And today I went to start working on this board that I CNC'd all the holes in. And I wanted to point out that you could do it with a CNC or without a CNC. And I did it with CNC. So I went today to flip it over to start putting everything together. And I realized that some of these holes didn't make it all the way through. So there's holes here, but they didn't punch through. So there's a really thin layer in this area and almost that entire side. These holes didn't go all the way through. I can't put it back on the CNC to cut those. And so now I have to poke through them on the back with an ice pick to finish out the holes or re-drill them from the front. And there's a whole bunch of them. And this is the type of stuff that it doesn't add any value to put it in the video, but it's still something I have to do. So anyway, my time today is going to be spent re-drilling probably 70 or 80 holes. All right, it's a couple days later now since the last time I worked on the project, because Tuesday was actually meetings all day long and podcast. Yesterday was live stream. My week is kind of crazy. So I've been working on the air hockey table, and it's worked out pretty well. I've had a few things I've had to go back and like adjust where something wasn't quite cut correctly because I was in a hurry. But I've spent a couple hours, and this is how it's looking. So the underside is there, like the full, pattern is there, cut, all the holes are ready. It's sandwiched on the bottom. I've got the frame on. I've got the ends down here where the goals come in. The puck will land in this. I just put on the plumbing, so the air should be able to, well, this isn't attached yet, but this stuff's all attached. So I should be able to hook up the shop vac to this and like actually test it. So it's really close. I just have to glue this in place with some caulk or something, and then it's probably ready to start painting. And the drag is that I have to paint the whole thing black. The problem with that is it's raining today, so I have to paint outside. It's just like one of those things about not having a giant shop or having to work outside some, is you have to work around the weather, and kind of messes with my schedule a little bit, but we'll see how it goes. I should be able to get it done, I think, in time to have it edited for next week. Today was Thursday, and when I put up a video on Thursday, it's always like the entire morning is posting on all the different social networks and answering comments and trying to be active and stuff. So I didn't even get in here to start working in the shop until like 2:30 today, and now it's 5, and I've not gotten a ton done. So this is what it looks like to do a project. Alright, just did the painting on this thing. I think it's all done, and the bad part about this is that I have to paint in my front yard because I don't have a paint booth, and I also take my dogs out to go to the bathroom in the front yard. So I stepped in dog poop twice while I was trying to paint this thing. So I have to start picking up dog poop, and I have to be more aware when I'm out here walking around, because that like wasted like 30 minutes, and now I'm all sweaty just from standing out here getting dog poop out of my shoe. You won't see that in a project video, that's for sure. I did some tests last night with the table to see if it worked. It works, kind of. Like, I was hoping to use acrylic for the puck, but the acrylic that I have, it like moves better than, it moves better than if there were no air, but it still doesn't move great. But I did test out using some of this plywood, this really thin kind of Luan, 3mm plywood or whatever it is. And this actually works pretty well, and it still gives you that clink sound from when you hit the pieces. So I'm going to probably put that in the video to show a couple of different ones and show that this works better. But I already know that people are going to like tear into me for not figuring out the math of like the size of holes and how close they should be together and all that stuff beforehand. Oh well, live and learn. Had a really good weekend of not working and hanging out with the family, but we did end up playing air hockey a lot, and I realized a couple of things. One, this is the acrylic that I was testing out that I said before didn't really work very well. Well, I realized that I hadn't cleaned out my shop vac, the filter, at all in a long time, so I dumped the container, cleaned the filter, and then all of a sudden there was a lot more air coming out of that thing. So this actually works really well. The whole game works a lot better, which makes sense. But the acrylic works fine. One thing I did find is you can kind of see here on the edge, it's got like blue paint, and these these strikers is what they're called, have been actually, like, the shape has changed from hitting the acrylic. So that's kind of a thing, that these take a lot of damage when it's wood hitting acrylic. But regardless, the game works way better than it did before I cleaned the filter out. So that's encouraging to me. And so yeah, so today is the last day of this project. So I'll kind of shoot throughout the week, and then usually try not to work on weekends if I can help it. And then on Mondays I'll come in and shoot the talking stuff, where I like do the intro and the outro, and you know, talk about what I would change and all that stuff. So I'm about to start shooting that now. Then we edit tomorrow. I voiceover on Wednesday and release on Thursday. That's the pattern. So I think this one's about done. I hope you like the behind the scenes stuff. I know it's a little different for me, but I hope it gave some insight as to, you know, what goes on for these projects. Let me know in the comments what you think about this one. If you want to see more of this type of stuff, if you want to see the actual air hockey video, if you haven't seen that yet, then I will put it link in the description, and then I can also put it like right here somewhere. So thanks for watching. I'll see you in the air hockey video. Bye.